Invictus Gaming and Weibo. For the first time this series, IG will take to the blue side. Remember, a lot of priority mid laners that Rookie has used in the past are already gone. Aurora is still available, has yet to be picked though this series, but no Galio, no Talia, no Annie, no Orianna.
Very important, and junglers in particular as well, without the Poppy anymore, could start to see things. Maybe the Trundle makes it on through. Champion that has been missing for a large portion of this draft. And Ornn, another one where we haven't really seen it. With no Sion in the game, could start to get things like the Yorick back in. But a lot of different champions coming on through. And with IG on the blue side, there's no ability for them to reasonably find counterpick in at least some of these lanes. So what is their prioritization? What are they going to be looking to snap up? Honestly, I think that mid lane conversation really does start to bear weight here in this game.
And Gala has once again been denied 2 of the 80 carries that he recently got pentakills on in the Varus and the Yunara. So the 80 carry pool is going to be quite thin going into this final game of the series. We're looking at things like Kalista that was banned away from Light in the previous game. Ezreal might be a big contender here for someone like Gala who just wants to have a lot of freedom, a lot of safety and space. And IG go for the first pick, Ryze.
Wow. Ryze, a champion that we have not been able to see too much of from Rookie this split. A single game so far in split 3. So for Weibo, do you go for the Aurora to try to slip underneath him in the laning phase and see if you can have a little bit more impact before he reaches those early game, those later game power spikes in the items? Xiaohu was one of our early adopters of the Aurora and one of our best as the couple first patches came out. But now what do we get on the opposite side? What else are we grabbing for Weibo? Are we going to see if we can snap up our jungler? Are we going to grab an 80 carry that we have not had access to all season long, or all series long?
Weibo would start defining themselves a little bit early with something like a Kaisa lock-in as a team that just wants to proactively dive forward. But the shift over to the Lucian is now going to give Light a little bit more aggressive playmaking, especially in the mid game. We'll see what options he has available. With a majority of tank supports normally banned, I'm going to take that back because it's been Bard, it's been Karma, it's been Rakan and Nico. There's still a lot of supports available that compare nicely with the Lucian. Braum has been a very, very nice pairing for the most part. I was just curious to see if Weibo would try and go for something like Nami or even Melio if it presents itself.
Yeah, I think it's a little tough with some of the 80 carries that are still present. And I like the Alistar pick that you were mentioning because it now puts us in a weird spot if you're IG. On one hand, you're giving Meiko by far his best champion and one of his most played so far this split. The problem is that you are expecting to see Lucian and Braum now. So you'll win the lane matchup. You have a very, very early game skewed composition here from the side of Weibo where you have now potentially 2 winning lanes set up from your mid and bottom lane. And now you're going to leave up. We have 2 mid laners chosen and a full bot lanes now selected for both of our teams. Which pool is going to get pinched from here on out? Are we going to go look towards our junglers? Or are we going to see whether or not we could do something about Breathe and TheShy here?
All right, Alk. We are game 3 in this Fearless draft. Once again, the skirmisher junglers have been banned. We already know there's no Pantheon, no Xin, no Wukong, no Poppy. Trundle, Vi, Jarvan, all gone. Now, you can go for other skirmishers, but we already acknowledged that they're not that great. AKA Rek'Sai. But
yeah,
there's an Alistar on IG's side.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And
Sylas. You have an Aurora.
Yeah, you have an Aurora, but Sylas can go for other builds so that your magic damage profile is not overwhelming to the... They knew it! They knew it! IG sniffed that shit out a mile away like, hang on! There's a possibility they send the Aurora top lane, they give Xiaohu Sylas, or they even put Sylas in jungle for Tian.
I think it's perfectly good shout. You do have Aurora, who is potentially a top laner, but we haven't seen Breathe pick it up so far, so it would be a first time here in competitive, at least for him. It's going to be the Maokai, so all of the engaged junglers kind of missing, and Merchred starts to gain value here in this game from the side of Weibo. Last ban for IG, you could look towards another mid laner. The Ahri is still up and available if you're trying to play for the early lane. Top lane, I'm thinking about champions you would want to get rid of. I think Yorick is really, really powerful for what Weibo are already showing. They're going to go for the Renekton, so opening up for what could be Yorick versus Cassante. You yourself could be looking for the Yorick, or even picking up that, maybe something like a Jace. A Jax could be good.
I think Wei has something diabolical cooked up. He had a big goofy grin on his face looking back at his coach. The 2 premier tank junglers are gone. If you want to go for a tank jungler still, it's the Skarner, which Tian is thinking about for himself. Now, other junglers like Tarzan, Kanavi, and maybe Monkey would go for some carry options here, but because Wei has been so reliant on simple to execute junglers, I don't imagine. Maybe. But do you have enough burst from a Rise? Not at least early on.
Yeah, but he has such good setup. I mean, Spell Flux plus Rune Prison, in a 2v2 sense, that's almost a guaranteed kill, if not a summoner spell, at the very least. And versus a Skarner, I think he'd be willing to kind of tangle in that way. We have the AP junglers getting buffed again. Could be a Brand or a Lilia, but it seems like they recognize they have a lot of magic damage from mid jungle and support.
I would not mind. I mean, you're right that there's a lot of magic damage from Rise and Kai'Sa. Okay, it's the Nefiri. Wow.
All right. Dive gives them the ability to go in on targets, right? Like, think about the repositioning here from IG. Rise being able to play on side lanes, really strong focus on the solo lanes here. Yorick is always going to be potent, and with a free lane going into Cassante, I don't know if this is the draft that Weibo can succeed on. You're going to have a winning bottom lane. Mid lane, you can be a little bit more proactive in that sense, but I think that IG's top side is really, really dominant here. And where have we seen IG find wins? It is when they are looking towards TheShy and Rookie to give them avenues into games.
And the fact that you have 2 champions that can fearlessly dive into the backline and dodge a lot of predictable CC from the side of Weibo Gaming. Impale has that channel duration. You should have enough time to either flash or reposition or just react in general. Now, I know that we have talked about Wei's mechanics overall. Thankfully, Nefiri is a very straightforward assassin. There is a reason why, when her numbers were great in Split 2, that she was the most atrocious jungler to deal with, because her kit was so straightforward. She had an outplay button on a very short cooldown.
Yeah.
And if IG can solve the game long enough, even though that Nefiri has been nerfed in the past in early game, she's playing against a Skarner. She doesn't have to get aggressive early. She can play to farm, she can hit those 2 items, get a lot of ability haste under her kit, and she can still be the very meticulous and very annoying assassin that becomes a giant thorn into Weibo Gaming's side. But here we go, Dimitri. We have made it all the way to our final game of our final series of our Super Saturday. It is Weibo looking to see if they can close this series out in victory, or if it ends up being an IG comeback. We'll see it all unfold in our final match. Let's hit the riff for Game 3 between IG and Weibo.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他们。
Full house. I hate to do this to you, Mark. There's a Glizzy Fury in this game.
Yeah, baby.
And we've got and going up against Lucian. If you were longtime fans of Raafaa and I, you'll know that Lucian interactions with Glizzies. If you know, you know. Maybe we get that on the show, but
OGs know. Shout out to Wild Rift and Nori, baby. Oh my god.
So they're trying to leverage their early game. They have a Braum and a Lucian early on, going and invading on the bottom side of the jungle. IG taking very safe paths to try to avoid them right now, because they know they don't have the level 1. They spotted Wei on this side of that. It's just going to be pure vertical jungling. So they're going to trade, and hopefully for IG, their bottom lane is going to be able to survive. Meiko has played this Alistar incredibly well, and if he can continue that level of play, I feel like it'll be difficult for Weibo to find much.
Some early level 1 trading already going on. Gala drops a bit of HP. Light and Chris just trying to take advantage of the early power of the Lucian Braum lane. So far, Winter's Bite is going to tag Gala, and Gala is forced to distance himself away. Because Tian has found himself onto the bottom side of this red quadrant, I have no idea if Wei will be able to do anything about it, but thankfully for now, Weibo doesn't seem like they can force a dive against Gala Meiko anytime soon.
Breathe has to be careful. This wave is pushing away from him, and he has to have an idea that Wei is in the area. Level 3 for the Nefiri. Hasn't put a point in the W quite yet, but he's going to do it now. Just forces him away from this wave. Oh, if he lands a second one, yeah, Breathe has to take a recall.
Holy.
He's going to pop all of the potions. Has D-Shield. I think he has also a second wind. So he's really just trying to survive in this lane for the time being.
I didn't think that gank was going to get too much there. He popped the W for the movement speed, but didn't seem like TheShy was able to line up a Dark Procession, but the fact that he connects 2 Dark and Daggers there, that's really nice just for the overall health advantage against Yorick. Without Meiko to just pun away Light so that he doesn't get a chance to proc the concussive blows. Oh, Meiko really feisty with this lane. It's getting
We saw
tense
this
on the
before.
bottom side of the map.
When you have Lucian Braum, you need to proc the concussive blows, because if that never goes off, then a lot of the actual power and the damage you have early is just gone. You don't have the PTA that you're able to proc, and the max HP that you get with the Winter's Bite as well. Very, very important. So while all this was happening, Skarner has just been farming. I think you're fine with that situation if you're a Weibo, but Wei should be able to get this top side scuttle. Again, we have vertical jungling right now, and Tian might have an angle on bottom side, but it seems like Weibo just wanted to get all of this wave in and see if they can get a reset going.
My heart sank a little bit for Gala. He missed the cannon, was not able to secure it. It looks like he was confused if Meiko was going to secure it with his support item or not, but a little bit of gold missed out on IG. The pressure has been tough to deal with in this Lucian Braum lane. They haven't dropped a single summoner spell, and they haven't dropped a kill. So some small wins at the end of the day for IG. But like you said, Weibo need to find a way to truly capitalize on the advantage that they have with this Lucian Braum early enough so that when they get into that mid game, they can control the tempo, they control the pace of the game, and that should lead into objective priority for Tian and the rest of Weibo.
I feel bad for Wei because of how Tian did his camps, where he did red into Krugs and then Raptors. His Raptors are only going to respawn now, and Tian, he's going to finish on the top side. He can look for a recall and then open bottom side. Without them going for a swap, this does mean that Tian's going to be a little bit faster than Nefiri with getting level 6. So, just a small bit of efficiency here. Crisp opening mid lane. Mostly just to control this bottom side river and give Weibo some tools because they know they can play around this bottom lane.
Now, Weibo have an opportunity to look for early dragons. They have nice percentage HP, max percentage HP damage for Skarner's kit. Light and Chris have been able to get priority for a majority of this early laning phase against Meiko and Gala. We'll see if Weibo can try and find a way to start getting a lot of these dragons stacking up early. We didn't really get a chance to talk about the scaling for this team, and not to say that Lucian cannot do things late game, but because he is relatively short range and so dependent on how he uses his Relentless Pursuit to reposition himself, it can be tricky if they don't find a significant advantage by the time we get to 25 plus minutes into the game.
It's fine on 3. I just think, me personally, I really have been liking the build that we actually got from Masu in their playoff series, where we got to see him play the Kraken Slayer. You are stronger on second item, but I think that the interactions between Kraken Slayer, I honestly, it's just mostly that Kraken Slayer is a really broken item, and the fact that you can abuse it with the passive, you will lose out on the crit for your ultimate, but I think Navori Flicker Baits is a really big bait on a lot of AD carries. We'll have to see whether or not they can execute, though. Wei is in the pit. It's going to be a smite fight between our two junglers, but...
Gala and Meiko trying to collapse now. 1600 on the Dragon. Who's going to secure it? They're poking out Tian right now. 1200 HP. It's a 600 smite battle. Who is going to secure it? It ends up going to hands of Wei, but Meiko is the first one to get dropped in the river. Wei dodges a lot of damage, is able to find the eviscerating blades. Xiaohu on the run, but Wei is being able to just run them down as the big dog on campus, and Weibo Gaming are going to drop 3 kills to IG early in this final game of the series.
Aw, man, I just don't understand Weibo. Tian is pulling away from the Dragon. He is not even in smite range right now. Chris is going to get chased out of the jungle finally. Doesn't have flash anymore. They might just end up giving this over to Gala here.
You want a free kill?
You're in prison, at least for just one more. There we go. It's going to go over to Rookie. So Feats of Warfare immediately claimed here by IG. They got the Dragon as well. Such an important win for IG to find early on, where Lucian and Braum just weren't on the same page.
While it might be a little too early to call, this is the best early game opener that IG have had all series long.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I was saying I think Rise is so strong early game. Just the fact that you have a point-and-click stun essentially with the root, and even with Meiko going down, this 2v2 is so powerful for IG to play with. Like, Xiaohu uses his ultimate and barely gets any damage down on Gala. This is a pretty big win for Invictus Gaming.
Now Wei is challenging Tian on the top side. Oh, the Imperial goes wide! And Tian says, see you later. I missed my big ultimate, and I don't want to play this game anymore.
This is just Grubs now going over to IG. They've already moved over their bottom lane to play. Rookie has teleport up and available if he really needs to be here for this fight, but with no jungler, I think that Tian should be focused on getting his bot side camps, making sure that he's staying up to date on experience, and more importantly, finishing what looks to be a hard steal this game, which I just don't think he is ever going to get the ability to properly stack this item.
Now, the only people he will effectively get into melee range of fairly easily will be Meiko and maybe TheShy. And even then, I feel
like into Rise it's not bad because you can only rune prison one champion, but
sure.
The phase rush interaction's also pretty disgusting to deal with.
Yeah, the movement speed and the ability to space and kite is gonna be a tricky one for Tian to try and navigate through. It's still overall just the best item that you can get pound for pound on Skarner. You scale a lot with HP anyway, and you don't necessarily need to build like any other types of resistances early on, but I am on the ship with you, Alk. This is gonna be a tough one for Tian, and for Wei, as we saw many Nefiri junglers come to the conclusion of, just rushing Shojin is a great way to get access to a lot of ability haste. You don't necessarily need the Eclipse for early dueling prowess because you're going to be scaling anyway, and you want the game to go long as well, so you're not trying to close out the game early on.
Wow. Wei barely misses out on any vision here, by the way. This is really, really well played. Gala's by himself in mid. Meiko is trying to get any vision down.
Thankfully
no
for Gala,
ultimate from Tian. Jesus.
Yep. Yeah, they timed that ultimate well enough for Gala to not feel the pressure of having to burn a flash or even a cleanse from Weibo.
Get topside scuttle. He still has all of his topside camps, and IG are farming up a storm right now. Raafaa, we do get to conserve our energy just a little bit. Make sure that we're peaking at the right moments. Last game of the day, and important for both of these teams. If IG can somehow finish first in the regular season, I think a massive accomplishment from what we saw from them at the very beginning of the year. IG, a team that was floundering, immediately bombed out of playoffs, 7th, 8th in Split 1, then a top 3 finish in Split 2. I mean, I don't think it gets much better than that, but potentially finishing first in the regular season would be a pretty good start to the end of the year.
Even if IG win all 3 series, first seed can still be influenced by whether Top Esports is able to get victory on their last series. Or I think it's, yeah, they have one more series left in the season. But by winning all 3, because the last series is against BLG, that does mean IG automatically secures 2nd seed by following that through. So what a great way for IG to really put a cap stone on the end of Rumble stage if they can get to that point. But it all starts by finishing out this series against Weibo so that they can get ready for the final 2 series in our last week of the Rumble stage.
Okay, this next fight, super important. Dragon is up now, and there will be no Maiden available for TheShy. So him entering this Dragon fight, I think, is really tough. You're a team that has 3 grubs. Reed is going to recall now and look to teleport with Tian, or with now Xiaohu now entering in mid. Light's also leaving, so this looks like a non-starter here for Weibo.
Tian is still in the area, though, poking and prodding. Meiko doing what he can to just keep them out of the river and the pit. Chris takes a lot of damage, so does Meiko. He's able to use the phase rush or the movement speed, whatever it was, to create enough movement. Rookie trying to keep Tian out of the pit. He goes for the steal, but not going to happen. Tian now flashing, finds the impale on the Gala, but he has the killer instinct to be able to reposition.
Meiko's still alive!
And Meiko was still occupying the attention of Xiaohu as he now tries to hunt for Gala, but he's still not going to go down. Blinking on less than 100 HP, and Xiaohu gets killed. Are you kidding me?
Meiko, let's give you MVP, brother. That was incredible from him. The fact that he lives for so long, he tanks Xiaohu. It almost feels like an aggro dump all right on top of him. They're trying to kill this Alistar, find the resets, but why are we fighting there? We just saw that Light had recalled, so he's nowhere near this fight. You're Lucian to help you. There's no mana here from TheShy. Misses Q3 twice.
Oh my goodness, TheShy is just down. He gets another kill for another shovel. Give it to him. He waits out the shield. TheShy, does he have enough mana for one more shovel bonk on to breathe? Yes, he does. That's my #1 top laner in the league. I'm putting it on the all-pro ballot.
What the hell? Dude, Breathe missed so many Qs during that fight and makes or breaks it. IG are running away with this game. It was soft, it was quiet, and now at 12 minutes, the game absolutely explodes. Watching Meiko throughout this is just a treat, a legendary support, one of the best players to ever touch the LPL. And he just, he's like a real raid boss now. Everybody is trying to kill him in perfect timing. Gets Tian out of the pit, forces Xiaohu to chase him instead of dealing damage. And this fight could have gone so much better if Weibo just wait 10 seconds. Wait for Light to get here.
I am just floored by how many spells Meiko either sidestepped, flashed away from, hits level 6 off of the local experience so that he can pop the Unbreakable Will. I just like, are you kidding me, Meiko? How are you this good? We highlighted that Meiko's probably the best Alistar in the LPL, but you see stuff like that and you just think it's just unreal. There's just no way.
Champion's as old as he is, so it makes sense that he has, you know, some kind of kinship with this champion.
Type shit.
So, Breathe, not in a good spot. You took a counter matchup into yourself, hoping you have a little bit more utility as the game goes on. Gets outplayed. And you're looking across the board here as Weibo. You're going to have a 34 stack Heartsteel. I don't think that's going to be doing too much. We're looking going 1v3.
Shy gets out of this one. He's going to try to do his best to stall the game as long as possible because Wei is taking the Rift Herald on the top side. So as long as Shy is able to keep Weibo occupied, 07 in the chat for TheShy and the rest of IG, as his sacrifice leads to Wei securing another objective for the team.
And I'm looking at this from IG's perspective. You lost the top laner, you'll lose a wave on bottom side, but they had to give up a mid wave, some turret damage, and potentially even Rookie looking to grab this top tier 1. We're already at an experience differential on some of these lanes, so quick plays like that are nice, but to extend them, get a lead from them, so much tougher here. Heal from Meiko to give him a little bit more HP and that movement speed to move on out. A turret now completed. Goes over and shared by Rookie and Wei. This is where you want the gold to be going as an IG fan.
Meiko, base checking into Chris. Takes a decent amount of damage, but still above 50% HP on the Alistar and an Unbreakable Will at the ready if things get a little spicy from Weibo Gaming.
Oh my god. Look at the lanes right now, man. Like, Wei's gonna finish his topside camps. Dragon spawns in a minute, and he's gonna be level 11 at 17. Like, how can you play with level 2 ultimate on Nefiri. Like,
Yep. Hound's Pursuit does a lot of damage, and you get the first
really
kill
tough.
and you get the reset. Yeah, it is that's gonna be a painful one for Light. He has barrier, he has flash, but like he's gonna have to rely on more than just that. A locket, timed shield from Crisp will be necessary because they need to do everything they can to stop Wei from getting that first reset off the ulti, because otherwise this Nefiri just runs amok, and we're already starting to get close to that point. The Black Cleaver is a few hundred gold from being completed, and once Nefiri hits 2 items into the game, she has so much ability haste that she's just able to cause so much disruption into Weibo's back.
So he will have it on this back. I think Wei actually has the standing gold right now to get the Black Cleaver, but he doesn't have time to recall. Rookie does, and Rookie will have a completed Seraph's Embrace if he has the time to recall and teleport back out on the map. He's going to try and find a place for him to recall now. IG, they're going to summon the Herald to give them mid-priority. Even if Weibo stop this is access into the river.
I mean, he's deep. He's taking a lot of damage. Thankfully, Chris is able to block a majority of it without an unbreakable shield. Rookie takes a decent chunk onto his health bar. TheShy teleports into the river. Light trying to create space, dashes backwards. The Dark Procession snags Xiaohu, but no threat comes to him quite yet. Breathe is already at 50% HP. Crisp is also at 50% HP. Good knockoff from Meiko, stalls out Tian. Cullen comes out, tries to look for damage onto Rookie. Tian trying to walk up and find an impale flank, but here comes the Hound's Pursuit. Blocked, but the reset still comes through, and now he looks for Xiaohu on the back. Wei able to pop the W just for the invulnerability. The flash from Breathe tries to lock down the dog, but the Glizzies are too powerful for Breathe to handle. Not even the 3,000 Gobbler could take down this Glizzy baby, and Weibo just get obliterated in the river. IG gonna pick up 4 in the 3rd dragon of the game.
Oh, now the flash. Xiaohu. All right, let's see it. Yakety Sax, can you run away from TheShy? Meiko's on his way. This is just a prolonged death. Kaisa is hitting the mid-tier 2 all this time. Soul Point, 2 turrets going over to IG, and it's just a formality from this point on. Soul Point, 7,000 gold here for Invictus. This is a game win for sure, and a series win that looks to help push them towards the top of the table.
And what a poetic way to do it in their most dominating fashion of this series. The first game, absolute cinema. For the wrong reasons for Weibo Gaming side, but for the right reasons for IG side. Second game, Weibo able to prevail, but in this game 3, it has been an IG show from minute 6 when they fought in the river.
They just need to do something. Like, Weibo spend too much time to get poked out from Nefiri and Kaisa, and then the fight is just over. Light never gets a passive proc for Crisp, and then IG just get to route them. They love taking these fights low and slow. You're going to give time for Yorick to get multiple rotations of spells. Gala the same thing, get his plasma procs onto him, and now a triple kill for the Kaisa. And not to mention, Rise, who on 2 items now is 2 minutes away from a completed Rod of Ages and already had that Seraphs. This game does not get easier here for Weibo. They were supposed to get early action, and you went even in the Lucian Braum lane versus Kaisa Alistar. That is a travesty of a matchup.
It's probably the worst outcome that you could have had, not being able to leverage this bot lane duo from the side of Weibo. Rookie walking in with the rest. Good knockup from Meiko. An unbreakable shield from Chris blocks so much damage as Wei now commits into the play. Yet to pop the Hound's Pursuit. But the rest of Weibo are forced to give up space, and Otacon is the objective on the table. Weibo trying to do everything they can to contest space, but they're down 7,000 gold. And surely this is just an Otacon secured for Invictus Gaming.
It's just Tian, Breathe, and Light. Ooh, Xiaohu actually cancels his recall. I don't know why. There's no reason. We're not playing for this wave. Crisp is going to come back onto the map. He has Smite thanks to his Summoner Spellbook, but it's a little too late. Heal's coming up soon as well. The poke is starting to rain down. It is a Rage Blade done here for Gala. So any alone time, if this fight lasts any longer than 3 seconds, I feel like Gala is going to have a certified Kaisa moment go on.
He doesn't even have Nastra's Tooth completed yet, and the Void Seekers are starting to become so frustrating for Weibo to deal with, and stopping the recalls. And as they build up, it's going to add up here. Gala should have enough gold off of this base to secure his 3rd item, and IG have reached Okay, not quite. He must be missing like a couple hundred gold. But IG are almost at the point of no return for Weibo to be able to come back from. While we have said that IG were able to come back from massive gold deficits in previous games and previous series, unfortunately, that is not a precedent we associate with Weibo for this split.
I think that is, one, maybe just the idea that these two teams are very different from where they are in the standings, right? Like, IG already locked for top 4 in playoffs. They're going to get a free bye. They won't have to do the play-ins. Weibo still have one last chance to make that 4th seed here in the group, but a loss here tonight essentially takes away a lot of their agency. You are hoping that AL completely bomb out at the end of the split. And the fact that we give a team like IG that grace, that ability to say, look, they can come back from worse, but once they are winning a game, they are never going to give up that lead. I think that is a hallmark of a top-level team, even if sometimes it isn't the prettiest.
As we said before, IG may not be the cleanest team, but they are definitely the most entertaining team. And if Game 1 is a symbol of anything, they are also one of our most tenacious teams that we have in the LPL. And it's going to be a real challenge if IG can make the run all the way through playoffs far enough that they can go to the World Championship for the first time since 2019. I went back and looked. It's been 6 years since IG has been to the world stage. And they are so close to making the steps necessary to be able to make that goal. Tian gets caught by the Dark Procession. He interrupted his Ishtal's impact, and now IG are going to try and see if they can bait out the chase. Any summoner spells before IG fully commit. They're just poking and prodding, using the Dark and Daggers. Meiko connects with the knockup. Wei threatening onto the top side. Tian finally forced to flash away. Weibo trying to hold their ground, but they're getting dropped so low. Multiple members below, 30% HP. Xiaohu drops between worlds, but Meiko finds another knockup onto Tian. And now the Hound's pursuit from Wei can commit to finding more members. The Realm Warp takes the ball on a trip into Weibo Gaming's backline. Breathe is going to flash away just in time, but Rookie might have enough movement speed. Goes golden into the tower base. Breathe in and deletes him from the rift. IG find the ace at 24 minutes. And it looks like IG are about to put the finishing touches on this final game of the series.
It's a 5-0 ace. It is IG breaking open the inhibitor line, getting themselves the Cloud Soul, and looking to try to finish in a top 2 spot here in the LPL Split 3. What a fantastic series from them, and one that we expected them to take up against Weibo. It's not like this was as even of a matchup coming in. It was about to be the quality of a win from Weibo and from Invictus, but these choke points are so deadly. You got the maiden, sure, but that is a completely Pyrrhic victory. You can see that Rookie is throwing out these spell fluxes and just absolutely destroying Weibo and allowing for Nafiri and for Gala to just run through this fight uninhibited.
Like we said before, when IG are on the back foot, they still find ways to claw their way back into control of the game. When they're ahead, oh man, it's just destruction. It's a massacre. And IG are going to continue the bloodbath here into Weibo Gaming's own jungle side on the top side. Impale will snag one, but Wei can just use the call of the pack. He doesn't get over the wall. He's forced to flash, but he still does not get dropped. This Glizzy is out of control. Light forced to flash over the wall, trying to kite his way to safety, but Aurora gets dropped. Light will be able to take Meiko mid-air, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Oh my god, he almost died to the Yorick minion. That would have been tragic. Gala finds a triple on the Tian, and Light is the last man standing between IG and a victory in this series.
26 minutes, a single wave, Crisp and Light. Can we see this duo make magic happen? I don't think they've got it in them.
Chris throws out the shield. Wei goes in for the Hound's pursuit. Oh! Wei is preying on you tonight, hunting Weibo down and eating them alive. And IG prove that they are the top dog in the LPL.
All right, well, they did it. We got it. We made it happen. I did not know if we were going to see an as dominant series, but Invictus Gaming have made the magic happen. Discord went boom again, but it doesn't matter. It's the perfect time for it to happen. And damn, What a dominant couple of games here from Invictus. Get all that water. Long day, brother. Long day.
I'm going to pass the fuck out, bro.
No!
Oh my God.
Not 2 days in a row, please. Please. I feel like the... Oh!
My TOS!
My TOS. Oh, mine co-streaming rights. Oh. Yep, there we go. Well, regardless, IG find the win, and that means that now Weibo's fate is no longer in their hands. They can no longer... They would have to win all of their series, and then they're praying that AL lose against JDG and WE. Yep, you're in the gray screen now. You've earned it.
Understandable. I am...
Raafaa despair.
Yeah, Raafaa despair. Hang on, I'll give you an emote. Hopefully I held it for long enough. Oh my goodness, what a banger. What a way for IG to close out our final Super Saturday of the Rumble stage and our overall just last Super Saturday of the entire year.
Yeah.
My goodness, guys, we're never gonna have another one for at least August is the 8th month of the year.
I think almost 6 months. We didn't start until like halfway through January, almost February, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we started on the 12th of January, so almost 6 months before we get another Super Saturday like this. Unless we cover, you know, thinking ahead, maybe Demacia Cup in December. We'll see. Long time away. We got a lot of League of Legends between now and then here, both in the LPL and internationally speaking. But man, IG now shoot up to second. They have a better game differential than BLG at 19 and 9 versus 20 and 12. They're at plus 10 instead of plus 8. They're 2 more series away. Top Esports need to lose their last series, but it's against FPX. I heavily doubt that's happening.
Well, what if FPX's new jungler Jeje hits them with the ultimate fade and leverages IG a solid Jeje for his last goodbye to his former org says, I got you one time, IG, one time. I will demolish Top Esports and set you guys up to take first seed by the end of the Rumble stage.
And then the magic is just there, and Jeje has always been the secret agent. So either way, an exciting kind of set here for the games. I'm thinking MVPs, honestly, they might give it to TheShy actually for a couple of those outplays. I think it's some variation of like Rookie or Wei in this game.
Meiko's
also fair. This is a game where I think a lot of people from anybody from IG could have earned themselves an MVP, and I could see some reasonable thoughts there. But
everyone from IG stepped up in this last game. No one was a deficiency. No one was a liability for Weibo to try and play off of to get back into this game. So this was one of IG's best games of at least of recent memory, just in terms of cleanliness. They didn't have to do some BS comeback story like we've seen in previous series. This was just overall an effectively cleaner game from start to finish.
Mark, and I want us to start casting our minds. We've talked a lot about Weibo and IG and the standings implications and going into playoffs. I want us to look past today's broadcast, start thinking about tomorrow. Tomorrow we have LNG and EDG. I know a series that is close to your heart. EDG, if they lose to LNG, it sets up for LNG to make playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not guaranteed, and it needs to be a 2-0, but...
Let's pull up standings so that everyone can get a chance to check it out visually as well. because you're right. I guess we can call it an upset from LNG being able to take down Thunder Talk, eliminate them from the rest of the 2025 competitive season. Now have one chance to be able to get into top 4 from Group Nirvana. It would require not only LNG defeating EDG on Sunday morning, aka tomorrow morning, but it would also require Ultra Prime to... No, Ultra Prime has to lose. Ultra Prime has to lose.
Oh, true. True.
And they're playing against LGD. And LGD, no matter what, they are going to be locked in at 3rd seed. So
which team do LGD like more? Do they like Ultra Prime or do they like LNG?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep. As soon as LNG, if they lose a game to EDG, their game differential gets a little bit wonky. They're kind of praying that Ultra Prime never win a game.
Yeah.
So really tough stuff. And then that second series, JDG versus AL. If AL win their series tomorrow, they put themselves at 8-5. It is impossible for either of these teams to make it past that point. So that will lock up our top 4. AL limping into the playoffs. Unexpected statement that we said we did not think was going to happen here coming out of Split 2, but a slow start to the split and some rockier performances, as well as, you know, a team like IG really rising up. BLG having that run at the very beginning for the first half of the split.
I'm just looking over the last matches over in week 7 too, and just JDG have AL and then the 2 back-to-back Weibo Gaming series. Like you said, as soon as anyone's legend wins one singular series, either against JDG or against WE, there's nothing else that JDG or Weibo can do to try and squeak in for a top 4 spot. It has been so crazy just to think about a lot of the teams that have come into Split 3 and who we were expecting to be heavy favorites. Obviously, anyone's legend being the one that has fallen from high highs. Okay. Gala Kaisa.
Gala MVP.
Deathless.
Sure.
Sure.
I can't believe that we're going to have potentially the season effectively done standings-wise on Sunday, tomorrow. If everything goes to plan, if EDG wins, if AL win tomorrow as expected, the standings are locked up at that point. And at least for where these teams are headed, you know, there are still some movements that can happen between teams like IG, like BLG, but tomorrow could be it. Tomorrow could be the last of the meaningful games for sending teams and which teams we'll see in the play-ins.
Yeah. Seeding, like you said, can still be changed, but we'll know who is auto-qualifying to playoffs. We'll know who will be going into the play-in stage, and then it'll just be the last few series determining who from Group Ascend gets to choose which teams they want to play against from Group Nirvana. And, you know, that makes it so that JDG, Weibo, and WE, even though WE don't have nearly as much influence as they would like after losing their series against Top Esports, to determine whether they get to go into 5th or 6th seed, they have to buckle down and try and win the remaining 2 series they have for the remainder of the split. And even then, that is, I don't know. It's so tough, and everything is coming down to the wire, Alk. But if my memory serves correctly, we got our MVP graphic. Sorry guys, we're 26 hours lack of sleep, but here we go. The broadcast has come to a close, so before we start bidding adieu and giving our last shout outs here on the broadcast team, we want to give a huge thank you to our elite coffee supporters, Aaron Soup, Mung, Forest Without, and owners of a Cimarilla. Their pledged financial contributions help level up the broadcast and give back to the cast and crew who strive to give you an English LPL product every single day, and in our case, every single night.
There you go.
Anything else we're missing before we close out
real
the show?
quick for everybody, it is pinned on our Twitter. We are still doing the giveaway until the very last day, right before playoffs. please go sign up. All you have to do is log in with one of your emails. You have to check out all of our websites, so YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, as well as our coffee, and you'll have a chance to win one of the signed Polaroids from our MSI interviews. Again, an opportunity that would not be possible without fans like you watching, and it's completely free to enter. You just have to be able to get in your entries, and potentially you have a chance to win like a Tarzan, not a Tarzan signed one, but you have the Kyle ones you can get. There is a Faker Polaroid that is signed. That one is extremely valuable, obviously, for a lot of fans. So, yeah, go ahead and please go check it out. It's pinned on our Twitter. Again, LPL English on Twitter. You can go ahead and check that one out. And I just want to say another thank you to not only yourself, Raafaa, for joining us today, but for Yanni and Bloxer earlier on, and then everybody else on the production crew from Ilya, as well as our mods and our socials people for making it through what is another 8-game day here on our last Super Saturday.
Always a banger with you, Dimitri. Always a banger with you, Kai. Thank you so much to everyone for your support in chat and pretty much everywhere in the Discord community and everything that helps make the LPL English still a possible reality